In 1867, Kansas State University held its first commencement. 3 women and 2 men graduated that year. As the first land-grant university in the nation, this fledgling university had a vision of providing innovative education to all people. That early vision has continued through to the present, with over 250 majors and a diverse student body, including students from all 50 states and more than 100 countries. Becoming one of the nation's top 50 public research universities by 2025 is today's vision for tomorrow. With academic programs among the best in the nation and professors who are leaders in their fields, Kansas State University is an international leader in teaching, learning, service, and research. Today's graduates join over 200,000 alumni who are proud to call K-State their alma mater. Congratulations, and thank you to all those who have supported them through their undergraduate experience at Kansas State University.
Welcome to the Spring 2017 Commencement Exercises of the College of Business Administration. I am Kevin Gwinner, Dean of the College. I am pleased to introduce Ms. Taylor Fry, graduating senior in marketing, to sing our national anthem. Please remain standing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Taylor. That was amazing. Please be seated. Before we proceed with our program, I would like to introduce the members of the Platform Party. Please hold your applause until I introduce the entire Platform Party. Beginning from my far left, we have Dr. Brett Wilkinson, Head, Department of Accounting, Dr. Eric Higgins, Associate Dean and Head, Department of Finance, Ms. Binta Janda, Assistant Dean, Success Center, Dr. Stacy Kovar, Associate Dean, Mr. Randy Sims, Commencement Speaker, General Richard Myers, University President, Dr. Don Martin, Assistant Dean for Diversity, Ms. Andrea Labiste Tamé, CBA Outstanding Senior, Dr. David Lehman, Instructor, Department of Marketing, Ms. Caitlin Webb, CBA Student Speaker, Dr. C. Clyde Jones, Emeritus Dean, College of Business, Dr. William Turnley, Head, Department of Management, Dr. Esther Swilley, Head, Department of Marketing, and Ms. Amy Button-Rentz, President and CEO, Kansas State University Alumni Association. Thank you very much. Please also join me in thanking our commencement marshals this afternoon, Dr. Jan Crow, Dr. Danita Whitley-Bammerlin, Ms. Emily Cravens, and Ms. Ashley Thomas for their generous service as commencement marshals. Thank you. Graduates, today is a wonderful day of celebration for you and your families. I am privileged to have the opportunity to share this special occasion with you and grateful for the family members who are able to attend the special event in your lives, an event that marks the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice in the pursuit of knowledge, a meaningful career, and a promising future. No one is happier or prouder of your educational accomplishments than the loved ones gathered here today. I want to take this moment to acknowledge the encouragement and support your families have provided for your success. Would the parents, spouses, and children of our graduates please stand and be recognized? I know that many of our families here today are celebrating a family tradition as a new generation joins the ranks of K-State alumni. Would all those present today who hold degrees from Kansas State University please stand for us to honor each family's Wildcat legacy? Although we are here today to honor the accomplishments of the graduates, we also acknowledge the faculty and staff who have worked with our graduates in completing their studies. In honor of the faculty and professional staff who have served you with such dedication, I ask you, the graduates, to please stand and applaud their contributions to your success. Thank you. Thank you. I am pleased to recognize several faculty members and staff members who have been named as recipients of prestigious awards this semester. Please stand when I call your name. Dr. M.K. Kim, Assistant Professor of Management, is the recipient of the Ralph Wrights Outstanding Teaching Award. Dr. Sabui Sardali, Assistant Professor in Finance, is the recipient of the CBA Developing Scholar Award. And Ms. Miranda Kimball, Professional Development Advisor, is the recipient of the Kansas State Bank Outstanding Advising Award. Congratulations to these award winners. We also have two graduates who have received university-wide awards acknowledging their excellence in leadership, scholarship, and community service. As I call your name, please stand to be recognized. Stephen Kutra, the recipient of the Anderson Senior Award for Outstanding Leadership. And Sherry Humbard, the Anderson Award for Outstanding Inspiration. Please join me in congratulating these graduates. One special group of graduates who have made significant contributions to the college are those who have served us as business ambassadors while an undergraduate student. Would those students who at any point in time have been our business ambassadors please stand to be recognized? Thank you for your excellent service. We're also honored to have Kansas State University President Richard Myers and President of the K-State Alumni Association, Amy Button-Rentz, join us today. Thank you both for being here. Now it is my distinct honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Mr. Randy Sims, Class of '81. Randy Sims is Senior Vice President, Chief Legal Officer, and Secretary at Cerner Corporation. He is responsible for all legal affairs at Cerner, including general corporate, Securities and Exchange Commission compliance, transactions, and litigation. Randy also oversees client and non-client contracting, human resource support, and intellectual property, including patents and trademarks. His responsibilities for legal affairs include all of Cerner's global subsidiaries, including operations in Europe, the Middle East, Canada, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. Randy earned a bachelor's degree in economics from Kansas State University in 1981, a Juris Doctorate from the University of Kansas School of Law, and an Executive Fellow's Master's degree in Business Administration from Rockhurst University. He serves on the board of the directors of Alpha Lambda Educational Foundation, First Hand Foundation, and Starlight Theater. He is also a member of the Dean's Business Advisory Council for the College of Business Administration and on the Department of Economics Advisory Council at Kansas State University. Randy, thank you for making time to address our spring 2017 business graduates. Please join me in welcoming a distinguished and accomplished K-State alumnus, Mr. Randy Sims.
Thank you, Dean Gwinner. Very honored to be here with all of you today. Not only are you the incredible individuals who make up the 2017 graduating class of the Kansas State University College of Business Administration, but you're also the individuals who will leave here today prepared to make the world a better place for your families, your communities, and I am confident, in many cases, a better place for the whole world. And all of us are excited to see what the future has in store for each of you. Because while you may be a little sad to be leaving Kansas State, a place where you experience a time of significant personal and professional growth, along with new friendships, new experiences, and new adventures, I can assure you, your time here at Kansas State has provided you with the foundation and opportunity to continue on with an equally rewarding career, a career full of continued personal and professional growth, more new friends, more new experiences, adventures, and opportunities. When Dean Gwinner and the faculty asked me to speak with you here today, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I could share with you that might make a difference. What did I have to convey that would make this short time with you before you begin your well-deserved graduation celebrations worthwhile? I talked to a lot of people, peers, as well as people early in their careers, trying to find that one message or piece of advice, that secret to success that I could share with you to start your careers or the next stage of your education. But I could not think of one thing that will help ensure success. There is no one answer to success in life, as it takes a variety of skills and effort, and there is no one path to success, as each person is different. Each of us has a different approach, style, skill set, demeanor, and quite frankly, a different understanding or perception of success. What I finally landed on was to share a formula that I have attempted to follow. It is the way I have strived to lead my life and career after leaving Manhattan 35 years ago. And I think it is what has enabled me, a self-professed average Joe college student, to achieve my life goals and career goals. It's captured on a plaque in our brand new College of Business building. The plaque reads, "There are no barriers to success, only challenges to overcome. All can be successful with the heartland values of commitment, hard work, integrity, humility, and respect. First, make no excuses. Each member of the legal group at Cerner has a laminated poster on the wall of their workspace. It states, Cerner Legal, Navigating a Way Forward. Because we see our jobs as finding solutions, perhaps creative solutions to obtaining our business objectives, not just finding and identifying problems or potential barriers. And one of the core tenets of our group is to never be a victim. Rather, certainly learn from our challenges, but find a solution and move forward. This does not mean you do not speak up and offer critiques and constructive criticism, but you do it in a manner to learn, both as individuals and as an organization, so that you can improve. At Cerner, we encourage you to point out problems or concerns, but we insist you cannot oppose without a propose. So do not make any excuses, find a way forward. The next step is commitment. I start with commitment because even if you have all the other values, hard work, integrity, humility, and respect, you will never reach your full potential without commitment. To reach your full potential, to fully employ all your education, preparation, skills, and gifts, You need to have steadfast, determined, and dedicated pursuit of your goals. Certainly not to the exclusion of enjoying your life and your family, but you must be fully committed to whatever you are then pursuing, whether it is a project, a business plan, or simply striving to deliver excellent results and to exceed expectations. At Cerner, we have borrowed many philosophies from the Disney organization, including always seek to exceed expectations. That takes commitment. I believe another example of commitment is to take the initiative and assume ownership and responsibility regardless of your job description. At Cerner, we call it see a snake, kill a snake. The point is, if you see something that needs to be done or that you think should be done, take the initiative and make it happen. Demonstrate and embody commitment. The second ingredient is hard work with a great attitude. Sorry, but just as there are no shortcuts in education, there are no shortcuts in performing in your chosen career. It takes focus, commitment, and hard work, along with a positive, can-do attitude. But trust me, your hard work and positive, team-first attitude will be noticed and rewarded. I was never the smartest person in school, not by a long shot, not in high school, college, or grad school. And I probably was not the smartest among my peers in each of my career stops. But I did work very, very hard. And I like to think I was a coworker that everyone knew they could count on to not only take care of my work, but to also help out whenever and wherever I could. That no doubt led to the opportunity to join Cerner 20 years ago, where I made the point of hiring people who are also willing to roll up their sleeves and work hard with integrity and commitment. Integrity. On that same laminated poster in each of the Cerner Legal Group offices, right below navigating a way forward, you will find three prominent words: innovation, quality, trust. Because quite frankly, no matter how strong your commitment, how hard you work, without integrity or trust, your career will be a house of cards. In order to achieve success in your career or life, you must be someone others can count on. At Cerner, we have the no surprises rule. We do not want anything swept under the rug or glossed over. We demand and expect full transparency and honesty with our teammates, our coworkers, our shareholders, and yes, even our clients and suppliers. As a business person and attorney, I find this a refreshing way to negotiate. Because while being less than forthcoming can sometimes lead to short-term advantages, inevitably, in the long run, you will pay a heavy price for being obscure. As you know, integrity and trust can take a long time to earn, but can be lost in a nanosecond. So always, always be honest and forthcoming and deliver on your commitments. Humility. So you've put in and you continue to put in the commitment and the hard work with a positive can-do attitude in all of your relationships and interactions. Now it is time to add a dose of humility. Because no matter how grand your education or how hard your work or even all of your accomplishments to date, remember, there is no substitute for experience. So do not allow yourself to become overconfident or arrogant. Instead, listen to others and be open to and consider their ideas, opinions, viewpoints, and suggestions. Remember, alone you may have 5 years of experience, but by listening to others and keeping an open mind, you might benefit from 100 years of richly varied experiences. Leading up to the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008, banking and finance executives thought they knew it all and relied upon their mathematical models and algorithms for designing, structuring, and valuing portfolios of subprime debt. They believed it could not fail and did not listen to anyone questioning their assumptions. You could certainly make a case that a lack of humility led to the greatest recession since the Great Depression. So remember, no matter how smart you think you are, there are no absolute guarantees in business or life, and there is certainly no substitute for experience. So seek out as rich and variety of experiences and opportunities as you can, both personally and by listening to others. And lastly, respect. As you hit the road to start your careers, remember, you cannot go wrong with the golden rule of treating others the way you would like to be treated. Feel confident that you will always get a positive return by making others feel welcome, comfortable, and important. I learned this from a mentor in one of my first career stops. He was an assistant DA who I noticed always made anyone and everyone who entered a room in a business setting or a social setting to feel welcome and comfortable. He would immediately engage the person and pull them into the discussion, or quietly bring them up to speed if they had entered midstream. More often than not, this person, now feeling welcome and comfortable, would end up making a positive contribution to the discussion. So remember, always seek to make others feel welcome, comfortable, and important. Who knows? The support you show may lead the other person to come up with the next great idea for your team, or perhaps may they someday become your boss or your most important client, or maybe just a great friend. Again, there is no one path or secret sauce to success, but this formula, to make no excuses, but instead to strive to overcome any and all obstacles or sharp curves in your path to success with commitment, hard work, integrity, humility, and respect, has certainly worked for me these past 35 years after leaving this hallowed land of kites, varsity donuts, Vista onion rings, and Call Hall ice cream. So I encourage you to keep this formula in mind as you chart your own path forward from the Little Apple. And I guess it would not be a true commencement speech if I did not leave you with at least one challenge. There's a quote that has trickled down over the past century in various forms and attributed to various sources, but is probably most famously recited in a paraphrased version attributed to social activist and former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, but great minds discuss ideas. So my challenge to you is to be a great mind. Do not settle. Do not be afraid to fail. Do not waste your great education, talent, and skills. Do not be a victim or complain just because you disagree or find something difficult. Do not be divisive or closed-minded. Instead, be a great mind, a mind that seeks to embrace and discuss different ideas, viewpoints, and perspectives. A mind that seeks to find understanding, common ground, and workable compromise. A mind full of those heartland values of commitment, hard work, integrity, humility, and respect. But before you leave here today and start or continue on your own selected career and life path, let me leave you with one final piece of advice from Neil Patterson, Cerner's chairman, CEO, and co-founder, a person who grew up in the fields on the Kansas and Oklahoma border, and through hard work and doing the right thing, built a company that now employs 25,000 associates around the world, many of whom are Kansas State grads. Neil likes to say, work very hard, but never miss an opportunity to watch a sunset. Thank you, and congratulations.
Randy, thank you for your inspirational remarks and for your eloquent challenge to our graduates. Please accept this small token of our appreciation for your participation in today's ceremony. We are grateful to have Amy Button-Rentz, President and CEO of the K-State Alumni Association, in attendance. She will say a few words on behalf of the Alumni Association.
Thank you, Dean Gwinner. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be part of your special day and offer congratulations on behalf of the K-State Alumni Association and over 182,000 living graduates who will be your lifelong K-State family. Today, as you receive your degree, we are excited to celebrate with you and your family. We are also here to welcome you into a new relationship with your alma mater as you begin this new chapter as a K-State graduate. Our mission at the Alumni Association is to lead and inspire lifelong involvement that will benefit Kansas State University and all members of our Wildcat community. Embedded in this mission are the core values that guide our efforts to keep you connected with K-State. The first value is link. The Alumni Association provides the lifelong link that alumni depend on to remain connected. You can stay in touch through hundreds of alumni activities held on campus, around the world, and even in any state in the United States. Another value is tradition. You will likely celebrate a few traditions this weekend as you sing the alma mater or take KSU photos at your favorite spot on campus. You may also have fond memories of doing the Wabash at a K-State sports event or rubbing the nose of the bronze Wildcat statue at the Alumni Center for good luck on a test or to ensure victory over that other university in the state of Kansas. The third core value is purple. For K-Staters, it's more than a color. It's a symbol of pride, connection, and family. When you see someone wearing purple or a K-State class ring or sporting a K-State license plate, you will feel that sense of family. In recognition of your graduation, the College of Business Administration and the Alumni Association are providing you with a complimentary one-year membership to the Alumni Association. We hope you will enjoy the membership benefits and continue to be an active member after your first year. K-State alumni are among the most loyal in the nation. In fact, our membership ranks in the top 5 in the nation, and we are #1 in the Big 12 Conference for the percentage of graduates who are members. That loyalty is shared by generations of K-Staters who have the same passion for K-State that you feel today as you receive your degree from one of the finest universities in the nation. The Alumni Association is also pleased to present you today with an exclusive alumni business card holder. As you go through life and your titles and your addresses change, please be sure to keep us updated. We want to make sure you are always connected to your K-State family. Congratulations and go Cats.
Thank you, Amy. Next, it is my honor to present the Outstanding Graduating Senior in Business Award. This award is peer-selected based on service to the college as an undergraduate, involvement in the life of the college, engagement in the K-State community, and personal academic success. This semester, Ms. Andrea Labiste Tomei is the recipient of the Outstanding Senior in Business Award. Andrea, please join me at the podium. Andrea is a general management, operations, and supply chain management major who is minoring in French. She holds the Professional Strategic Selling Certificate and Professional Advantage Certification from the college. While an undergraduate, Andrea has been an excellent ambassador for the college as an exceptional student scholar. She is a native of Paraguay. Andrea's parents are Oscar Labiste and Rosana Tomei. She is a graduate of Marcelina High School, and she speaks 5 languages. After graduation, Andrea will work in international sales at a family-owned business. While at K-State, Andrea has been active in various competitive sales teams, earning first place at the Frito-Lay sales competition. She served as an undergraduate research assistant and was a mentee in the Executive Mentor Program. She served as a business ambassador, a sales ambassador, and was chair of the 2017 Open House for the College of Business. She is also a member of both the Phi Kappa Phi and Beta Gamma Sigma Business Honor Societies. Andrea's accomplishments as an undergraduate are extensive. Suffice it to say, she is involved, dedicated, and strives for excellence in everything that she undertakes. She's an encourager to her peers and a motivator. She has been an authentic and exemplary advocate for diversity in the college at K-State, and one of her instructors went as far as to rate her as one of the top 3 they have ever taught at the college. While at K-State, Andrea has provided exceptional leadership and has been an outstanding role model for her peers during her undergraduate career. Please join me in congratulating Andrea on receiving the Spring 2017 CBA Outstanding Graduating Senior Award. Each semester, the college faculty and staff vote to choose one student to speak at commencement as a representative of the graduates. This semester's speaker is Caitlin Webb. Caitlin is graduating with a double major in accounting and economics. She also earns a minor in Spanish, an international business certificate, and is a university honors program graduate. She spent a semester abroad at the Universidad de Salamanca in Spain, where she studied language and business. Caitlin is the daughter of Susan Webb. She is originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and is a graduate of Manhattan High School. After graduation, Caitlin will travel to the London School of Economics and Political Science to pursue a master's degree of science in local economic development. Caitlin has been very active in the college and the university throughout her undergraduate career. She is a member of the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority, a member of the Student Alumni Board, the Student Governing Association, and the Blue Key Senior Honor Society. Further, she served as a student coordinator of the CBA Student Abroad Advocates and developed a workshop for her peers titled Beyond, Exploring Internships Across the U.S. In service to her peers, Caitlin was a finance peer tutor and served on the Dean's Student Advisory Council. She has been active in community service and was the recipient of numerous academic awards, honors, and scholarships during her undergraduate career at K-State. Caitlin has made many significant contributions to the college as an undergraduate while maintaining excellence in her academic achievements. Caitlin, it is my honor to introduce you as the Spring 2017 Student Commencement Speaker.
Okay, I'm just gonna go on my tippy toes. So I did not plan this to coincide with the theme of success, but thinking of, thank you so much. Oh, that's good. I was gonna break it if I touched it. Thinking of how much we have learned at K-State and how we are going to continue that moving forward, the thought that always came to mind was legacy. We are K-State proud. We carry this legacy of an institution that has built us for 4, sometimes 5, maybe 6 years. And at the root of it, I realized that there are 3 pillars, and these 3 pillars make legacy and define true success. And as was spoken of before me by our incredible speaker, success isn't measured by a task. So what is success measured by? Well, I found that it's measured by our relationships and by the time that we dedicate to investing in these relationships, our intentionality behind our actions, and our perspective that we take into life. And so to begin with that first pillar, that pillar of time, think back to a meeting that you had with a professor, or maybe a coffee date that you had with one of your fellow students. What was significant? They made time. Individuals who leave a legacy have this uncanny ability to look at a clock and say, many individuals can tell me how I'm supposed to spend my time, but ultimately I make that decision. And that's something we've learned at K-State. We learned that we have complete control over our own clocks. And it is with that confidence that we step forward and we live a life that is separate of what is expected, that is removed from those task-oriented, driven desires, but that we, again, build into relationships. And that goes into our second pillar. So from time, we have intentionality. Again, I want you to think back to your favorite college memory. What was so incredible about it? I bet there was this intentionality you had to remain present. This intentionality that you took forward into this moment and you decided that you were going to make it your own and to make it special. Into intentionality, you also have to bring this third pillar of perspective. So in this life, as we've experienced for the past 4 years, we have a lot of ups and downs. And we get the opportunity to decide with our perspective if we're going to let those ups and downs stop us or propel us forward. And again, at K-State, how many opportunities have we had to realize that our perspective is our own, and that even though we might falter a little bit, there's always a hand out on the side, there's always another door that we can walk through, and there's a window that is open. And so, to my peers, and to the incredible faculty, and the individuals sitting on this podium, when I think of a K-State legacy, the legacy that I am proud to carry on, and I hope you are too, I think of the time, the intentionality, and the perspective that 4 years at K-State have given me. And I hope that as you continue into whatever your career or your academic aspirations are, that you take this legacy, you make it your own, and you focus on attaining true success through continuing a legacy that is founded in motivational and life-changing relationships. Thank you, and good luck.
Caitlin, can I get you to come back up for a moment? On behalf of the College of Business. Thank you, Caitlin. We are now ready to present the degree candidates for the College of Business Administration. Will the candidates for bachelor's degrees from the College of Business Administration please rise and remain standing? President Myers, on behalf of the faculty of Kansas State University, I am pleased to present to you the College of Business Administration class of spring 2017.
By the authority of the people of the state of Kansas and the Kansas Board of Regents, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I am pleased to confer upon you the graduating class of spring 2017, the degree you have earned at Kansas State University. You may now move the tassel to the left side of your mortarboard, and congratulations.
Please be seated until the marshals direct you to the podium.
Will the marshals please direct the graduates to stand and approach the stage for awarding of their degrees? Also, will the department heads and representatives please move to the end of the ramp when their respective departments are called? Candidates for a degree in accounting: Brody G. Ackley, Levi Samuel Baker, Michael Patrick Chalfont, Aaron Nicholas Chapman, Juan Carlos Contreras. Keeper Bailey Zarnicki. Katie Lorraine Damashek. John Paul Darkson. Joseph Michael Scott Descartes, summa cum laude. Michael Austin Emley, honors program. Kira Jean Finn. Reed Palmer Fry, summa cum laude. Leslie Ann Geist. Brittany Nicole Gleason. Wesley Allen Goforth. Nicholas David Greco, magna cum laude. Zoe Marie Gubitoso. Corey Ann Harbin. Jill Heimerman. Meg Mary Holskamp, summa cum laude. Sherry Lynn Humbard, summa cum laude. Andrew Charles Hertig. Camilla Janae Jones. Sadie Ann Jones. Katie Lynn Keck Meyer. Mabry Allen Keel. Paige Henry Kendall. Ashley Dawn Knoll, summa cum laude. Stephen Michael Kuchera, summa cum laude. Taylor Ann Mawring. Sydney R. Martinez. Grant Adam McGinn. Hannah Rose Michael. Logan Matthew Minor. Kelly Marie O'Keefe, magna cum laude. Sarah A. Peterson, honors program. Brianna Rayanna Vanensteel. Joseph Albert Radetic. Justin Kindle Riley. Angela Elizabeth Ritter, magna cum laude. Andrew Jeremy Robin. Martina Nicole Skates. Allison Lee Shire. Benjamin David Seiler, summa cum laude. Grace Nicole Sewell, magna cum laude, honors program. Zachary Scott Shugren. Shelby Deanne Showalter. Abigail Steiner, summa cum laude. Jordan Nicole Stevens, cum laude. Jillian Bethany Taylor, cum laude. Rashay Latrice Taylor. Emily Phil. Teresa Marie Toller. Christy Nicole Urich. Mohammed Ali Waba. Derek Edgar Ward, summa cum laude. Caitlin Rochelle Webb, summa cum laude. Caitlin's diploma is being given to her by her mentor and friend, Dr. C. Clyde Jones, Emeritus Dean, College of Business. Shaquan Siobhan White. Anne Christine Willman, summa cum laude. Ashley Taylor Wilmuth. Dylan Lee Wisman. Matthew Joseph Zamanek, summa cum laude. Candidates for entrepreneurship. Marcus Allen Basinger. David Elliott Blank. Ted Andrew Borsama, magna cum laude. Wellington Shane Coleman III. Cesar Flores Garay. Adam Charles Fuchs. Hunter Ryan Harrison, summa cum laude. Caitlin Jane Renee Isley. Paige Marie Criley. Ian Gregory Lofton. Timothy William Marting. Rochelle Rose Paulson. Matthew John Penner. Chase Jacob Sabert. Andrew Patrick Scott. Kelsey Elizabeth Shepard. Taylor Scott Sigmund. Lily Marie Staub, magna cum laude. Max Mammal Stewart. Brianna Shantae Taylor. Sarah Jo Townsley. Candidates for a degree in finance. Michaela Areola Arza, cum laude. Melissa Jo Asper. Chandler Elliott Ayer. Dakota Lane Bartel. Rogelio Rivas Bentis Florentine. Jonathan Rodney Boltkins. Jacob William Caldwell. Hunter Bradley Chandler. Logan V. Clark, cum laude. Kevin Alton Cole. Lance James Conklin. Roger Ryan Koppel. Colburn Levi Couchman. Riley Allen Craig. Garrett Lee Cromie. Han Dong. Lindsay Ann Arskin. Luke Jacob Fields. Douglas Scott Fleet. Hannah Nicole Ford. Brianna Marie Fowler. Ming Gao. Tanner Lee Garver, magna cum laude. Kelly Nicole Gay, summa cum laude. Asher Johnson Gilead. Kristen Nevesta Gunderson, summa cum laude. Ryan Mitchell Hefke, summa cum laude. Brock Robert Humph. Brooke Lene Hatcherp. Jacob Aaron Heindel. Jacob Andrew Herman. Kyle Charles Hillman. Gregory Alexander Hilton. J. D. Howell. Ji Ha. Cody Alexander Humphreys. Nicholas James Jackson. Andrew Jewell. Grant Jacob Calberer. Ryan Andrew King. Nicole Kristen Knox. Duncan Christian Cohn. Larissa A. Liggett, summa cum laude, honors program. Travis Gerald Leager, cum laude. Justin Ryan Magott. Anna Irene Markin. Kyle Joseph Mara. Alexander William May. Bernardo James May. Matthew George Millar. Owen Jacob Miller. Mitchell Allen Mize, cum laude. Matthew Benjamin Myers, magna cum laude. Chase Tanner Newell. Michael Patrick O'Laughlin. Casey Renee Pearson Adams. Kelsey Nicole Ryan. Reed Francis Schmidling. Mason Kenneth Schoen. Aaron Keith Schamberg. Lauren Nicole Shaw. Charles Anthony Shockley. Seth Alexander Smith. John Patrick Stewart. Christian William Stromgren. Addison C. Tantillo. Tang Tang. Ashley Elizabeth Thomas. Preston Thomas Tucker, cum laude. Daniel Andrew Vasquez. Lexi Allen Wallingford. Nicholas Caden Walsh. Jia Wang. Shenjin Wang. Joseph Andrew Warner. Haley Lauren Waters, summa cum laude. Kylie Ann Watson. Brittany Nicole Worth. Marley Ann Weschelsmith. Jean-Mong Yang. Yongchen Yu. Jaeming Zhang. Blake Irving Zimmerlein. Matthew C. Zewis, magna cum laude. Candidates for a degree in general business. Jean Michael Clayton. Carly Marie Darby. Adam Michael Fector. Isaac Robert Honer. Kyle Christopher House. Brian Timothy Cluppy. Cassidy Rose Lemaire. Ryan Allen McElroy. Matthew Ryan Schmitz. Dustin Lee Schroller. Catherine Elise Staub, magna cum laude. Sandra P. Stewart. Jeffrey Charles Yenzer.
Candidates for management. Babatunde O. Alibi. Whitney Maria Amaro. Dalen Robert Anderson. Zachary Scott Beach. Bonnie J. Boltinghouse, cum laude. Shai Lee Bulow. Katie Elizabeth Carlson. Ian Chin. Stacy Lee Childs. Chase Craig Courier. Dakota Page Dawson. Zachary Taylor Dosher. Yulin Duan. Michael Charles Dula. Jesse Cisco Ertz. Lindsay Ann Fangman. Caleb Sheridan Finn. Efren Frere. Tia Rochelle Gamble. Cecilia May George. Alan Dean Gilbert. Gabriel Anthony Gutierrez. Nicholas Collette Hammer. Katie Lynn Hampton. Chin Han. Austin Colton Harkrader. Michelle Jean Harper. Brian Richard Hines. Natalie Renee Hendricks, Honors Program. Sheng Huang. Tyler Ray Johnston. Morgan Diane Jones. Nicole Danielle Jones. Palma Juhas, cum laude. Christy Marie Catlin, cum laude. John M. Kay. Natalie Lynn Kessel. Matthew Zay Kundert. Andrea Leviste. Ching Lei. Britton K. Like. Ashley Nicole Linun Weaver. Leticia Martinez. Alexander M. Merriman. Hannah Marie Matchell. Emma Lauren McCullough. Heather Marie McDougall. Megan Elaine Meadows. Luis Alberto Mejia. Christian Mills. Reed August Niver. Brett Christopher Neely. Tate William Nystrom. Evangelos Gregory Papadelis. Paul Riley Pierce. Kayla Poor, cum laude. Santiago Rocca. Tyler John Remy. Elizabeth Louise Reynolds. Nicholas Daniel Richardson. Gregory Richard Reber. D.J. Robler. Connor Andrew Rockroar. Jordan Travis Routh. Todd Paul Seiler. Nathaniel L. Schaefer. Winique LaShawn Sims. Brandy Lynn Seitz, cum laude. Joshua Michael Scott Snow. Wynette Sommerfeld. Chad Nicholas Swanson. Cody Ray Watson. Molly Weber. Bryant Patrick West. Tamara LaShawn Williams. Casey Lee Winchell. Alexa Danielle Woodson, cum laude. Yu-Chung Shu. Trail Blake Yost. Hannah Ahava Young. Yan Zhang. Candidates for Management Information Systems. Mohammed Abdulaziz Al-Eden. Omar Abdullah Amideyesh. Samuel Scott Broadbent. Austin Spencer Brown. Alexander Thomas Cook. Derek Andrew Cox. Santosh Kumar Dandy. Jared Alexander Dinkle. Brooke Renee Gershon. Wyatt Benjamin Getler. Tyler Allen Harris. Michael Allen Jackman. Dustin Marcelo Lara. Paige Morgan Lauer. Paul T. Law. Ritvik Mandala. Jordan Rayshawn Markley Kubius. Anurag Muthyam. Puang Viet Nguyen. Morgan Christine Pellman. Wyatt Martin Peters. Nadeem Shaikh. Matthew Stephen Tracy. Marshall Dean Wethington, magna cum laude. Cooper William Weideman. Candidates for marketing. Abigail Leanne Agnew. Holly Marie Otis. Ethan Joseph Bach. Andrew Craig Bayless. Brooke Ellen Becker. Blake Michael Benton. Justin David Byer. Morgan Elizabeth Blake. Jessica Lynn Bodecker. Adam Kendall Bueller. Jason Louise Carrion. Sarah Morgan Caulfield. Ashley Michelle Chastain. Nicholas Patrick Christian. Kayla Danielle Clapp. Matthew Dylan Comfort. Brett David Cook. Millie Kate Cooper. Brooks William DeBoard. Hansaka De Silva. Lily Rose Dollarhide, magna cum laude honors program. Michelle Suzanne Dorsey, magna cum laude. Alexis Arlene Dryden. Anissa Margaret Doerr. Jonathan Jordan Evans. Ciara Tatum Factor. Jordan Thomas Feltus. Linda Elizabeth Fowler. Hayden Michael Frazier. Taylor Ann Fry, magna cum laude. Matthew Green. Nicole Brianne Hall. Matthew Peter Hansen. Daniel Christopher Harris. Amy Leanne Hine, summa cum laude. Libby Lee Herwig. Catherine Christine Hess. Shelby Lee Hayden. Levi Elton Hirsch. Anna Megan Hughes. Shunshui Jin. Kristen Meredith Johnson. Zachary Lawrence Johnston. Ryan Michael Cabriel. Kyle Patrick Kane. Alexa Jordan Kasitz. Jumana Ahmad Kamis. Kaylee Marie King. Connor Stephen Kanabi. Emily Michael Kanabi. Joshua Michael Larson. Nicholas Arnold Leiker. Amanda Limseth. Cameron Scott Lober. Lydia Lee Lobmeyer. Ryan Allen Lorimore. Amanda Marie Marchesini. Matthew James Martin. Megan Ann Martin. Rumeka Mugank. Chase Andrew Miller. Trevor Wallace Moy. Sean Worth Murray. Sterling C. Muse. Tyler Dean Nadier. Amna Novaz. Harrison Charles Nelson. Xing Ye. Riley Marie Nizzi. Rowdy Joe Pate. Sydney Patterson. Richard Ernest Pearson. Michael Dean Penny. Matthew F. Peters. Alexander S. Piggott. Timothy James Porter. Ethan Michael Rice. James W. Reel. Logan Connor Roberts. Georgina Rubio. Nicholas John Raisavi. Alexander Harrison Schell. Cody Daniel Schlitzer, magna cum laude. Luke David Schwertweger. Alex Jaden Seeley. Chinhao Shen. Corbin McClain Sharp. Stephen Douglas Shelton. Yumeng Shi. Scott Michael Slapper. Sarah Michelle Spradling. Emily Elizabeth Stanley. Jessica Ray Stephen. Austin Joseph Stom. Taylor Austin Swanson Luillier. Henry Dakota Sido. Sarah Elizabeth Trout. Maria Nicole Vanicola. Stephen Daniel Wegner. Summer Lynn Wiebrecht. Chase Dean Wilson. Dong Lian Wu. Lingling Zong. Zachary Lane Zerger. Zaicheng Zhu.
Congratulations to all of you. Let us recognize the outstanding accomplishments of these graduates one more time. There is one small housekeeping matter. At the conclusion of our ceremony, please depart the main area of the arena as quickly as possible so that the Bramlage staff can prepare for the next ceremony. You are welcome to meet in the concourse area for pictures and conversation. We would ask the audience to remain seated until the platform party and the graduates have exited the Coliseum. Graduates, it has been the privilege of the college's administration, faculty, and staff to work with you over the past few years. At this time, would you please follow our marshals to the rear of the Coliseum, up the stairs, and into the concourse arena. This concludes our ceremony, and enjoy your afternoon.